If you like ducks, dogs, training, deer hunting, anything outdoors, then this is the podcast for you guys. This is the Flying V Podcast. I'm Thaddeus Bash. I'm your host for this beautiful ride, and I'm assisted by my co-host, Mr. Chang Moore Vang. You can tune in every week and join us as we talk about anything and everything under the moon that you guys want us to talk about. Some facts, some fiction, and a whole lot of opinions. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let's hop into it. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. And this week is going to be another great episode, like every week is. If you're new here and you're listening along on one of our many streaming services, go ahead and hit that follow button, guys, because like I said, every week we have another great episode for you. Welcome back to 50 States of Waterfowl. If you're watching along on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, guys. Show some support for the channel. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. The fall is right around the corner. It's banging on our freaking door. So we should have some good times coming. And if nothing else, at least support the podcast on there. Drop down below, drop us a comment, let us know what you think, anything you want to hear in the future podcasts. But you can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Flying V Outdoors. Let's go ahead and get to talking, guys. Now, last week we were out west on the coast with California. It was just myself doing a little solo quarterback there. Vang was out partying it up for his birthday. Everyone did wish Vang a happy birthday, so thanks for that, guys. I'm sure he's very appreciative. But yeah, this week we are traveling north of us now. Up to Colorado, and it should be a very fun episode this week. But before we hop into that, we're going to do what we normally do when Vang has the time for us, and that is our weekly recap. You got me, Vang?
Hey, what's up, my guy?
How you been, buddy?
Good, I appreciate it. Thanks for all the birthday wishes and everything.
Hey, everyone missed you, man. Everyone likes you more than they like me.
Yeah, so I have been obviously out of town. That's why I missed last week's. But I was out celebrating my cousin's wedding, so that's kind of why I was gone too.
Yeah,
but,
how was it?
Oh man, it was a blast. But I gotta kind of lose some weight now.
No, we all, man. I think that's part of aging.
It's
gaining. You gain wisdom and weight.
Yeah. What about you, my guy?
Oh, dude, same old, getting settled into the house, and Maddie's kept me pretty busy with projects around here. And yeah, that's about it, really. Just enjoying the new life and trying to get everything locked down. Yeah,
I mean, I see you been using your smoker a lot.
Hey, I mean, I've had plenty of time to use it, so I took 2 weeks of vacation to move in and stuff, and so yeah, every day we just kind of feasted.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. We just did a brisket, which to be honest, I'm not really a huge brisket guy in the first place.
Mm-hmm. I
don't know, I just don't like it, but we did a brisket. It turned out really good. Everyone else liked it. I didn't really care for it because I don't know, it's just not my thing.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's fun to cook. It looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I just
looked good for sure.
I've just never been a brisket fan, I guess.
I think you gotta use that smoker when I come down in January then.
Yeah, come on, man. I'll use it this weekend. Come on down. Yeah.
That's drive.
Yeah, we'll use it tonight. I don't care. But
yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and hop into it, man. So everyone, let me shoot this link over real quick. But this is gonna be a fun episode, like I said. We're talking about Colorado duck hunting. If anything, Colorado is known for marijuana and the Broncos. Two terrible things.
Did you mention California has that too, besides the Broncos?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
California has like 12 NFL teams.
Oh yeah, did you take a look at preseason?
I did, yeah. Sat around and watched preseason all weekend. Good. I don't know. I mean, my Colts, they looked pretty good.
You guys got what? Carson Wentz, right, this year?
Carson Wentz is out.
Wow, he's
hurt already.
There goes your season.
But no, that there doesn't go our season.
What a new team to root for.
We still have a top 5 defense in the NFL. No cap. We arguably have a top 3 offensive line when everyone's healthy. No cap. We have one of the best run games in the NFL. We have great young receivers, and we have 2 young quarterbacks dueling it out right now. Jacob Eason looked really, 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 really good. So, no.
I haven't paid attention to Indiana, so I can't argue.
Yeah, so don't talk to me then. But, gosh. And,
Any
preseason
fantasy
week
teams?
2 is Colts Vikings.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you would know that if you cared.
Looks like we're talking about that next podcast.
You didn't even know about it. There's nothing to talk about. Shut up.
It's all right. It's just preseason.
But we're getting Forrest in here. So this week we're talking with Forrest Carpenter from Colorado. He does a lot with dive bomb industries, and he's also a fantastic duck and goose competition caller. So I think he's going to have some really cool stories to share with us. I just shot that link over to him, so he should be hopping here any minute. But back to your football, Vang. I don't know how you're a Vikings fan just because you live in Minnesota.
That's really why I'm a Vikings fan.
I thought you were a Panthers fan or something.
No.
Yeah, you used to be.
When I lived there with you.
Well, I was never a Panthers fan.
They did go to the Super Bowl when I was a fan of them. I think that was like 2016.
So you're a bandwagoner.
No, it was just during that time that I decided I was going to be a Panthers fan. If that makes sense.
Whatever. That's when they had the good Cam Newton. Did you watch the Patriots?
Yeah.
Did you watch Cam ball out in preseason?
Yeah, when you talk about his sack that almost went into a fumble.
Cam sucks.
Yeah, that's why they call him Scam.
I don't care what anyone says. Dude's trash. We're getting off topic, man. The good news, though, I'm waiting on him to get this link through. But the good news is we're like 2 weeks away from Dove season opener, so that's cool.
I know.
I guess I could tell everyone I just signed up. So me and Boone are running finished at the end of next month, September 25th. Running 2 finish tests. So I did squeeze my way into one of those. Wish us luck for that. We're gonna need it.
What does that make him once he like titles?
What do you mean?
Just like, because you know, well,
once he gets he needs 3 more passes. Once we get 3 more passes, he'll have his hunting retriever champion.
Oh,
hey,
nice.
you got me there?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And but yeah, once we get that, and then afterwards, or in October, we're running our first master test. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're gonna need we got a lot of work to do, but hopefully we'll be ready. But without further ado, we got Forrest in here now. So, Forrest, how you doing today, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for giving us your time again. So real quick, man, if you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself and talk with Vang here, I'm going to go shut my dogs up while you guys do that.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Forrest Carpenter. Currently, I'm working for Dive Bomb Industries and do a little bit of everything, wear a bunch of different hats. But, some of the more notable stuff is I'm one of the lucky dogs I get to send and go take pictures and go hunt with people all over the place and get to fly the airplane. And, man, it sure is enjoyable. I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been in the industry. I think I started about 2001. I was 11, got into contest calling and really tried to start making a name for myself and built my way up through contests for a while and been hanging around. And man, it's just something that I can't get enough of. So glad to be able to talk with you guys today and tell you a little bit about what Colorado has to offer.
Yeah, for sure, man. One of these days I'm going to have to come up to Colorado and have you give me some calling lessons.
Hey, man, come on, buddy. There's a lot of good stuff to do up here.
That's what we were just talking about. Right? You guys got the Broncos and other stuff. So.
God bless it. I told my wife that growing up in my family, we said our prayers to Jesus and John Elway every night.
That's a thing. Yeah, that is a thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, come on. Old number 7 got us a long way, and he even brought us Peyton. So, I mean, let's be real. Who do we really have to thank there?
That's
Yeah,
right.
because there's that show, The Ranch on Netflix, and they've just praised John Elway.
Yeah.
Oh, they do,
Well,
don't they?
They're not
Yeah.
wrong. They're not
That's
wrong.
where I've heard that before. I was like, man,
But-
I've heard this somewhere.
So are you like the main caller of your hunting group then, since you do the competitions?
Honestly, I travel with Kyle Jones a lot for most of our dive bomb trips. So he's the reigning 2-time world goose calling champion. So we bounce back and forth quite a bit. We trade off, and I really kind of, I wouldn't say I got out of contest calling, but how life kind of gets in the way sometimes. I was pursuing my flying career about the time that he really hit the scene. So as I was starting to pursue that and put my nose to the grindstone, that's when Kyle popped up. So it's kind of like even though we're only a couple years apart, a little bit of an older generation or newer generation together. So we have a lot of fun, and we do a lot of fun stuff together, bouncing back and forth with the calls, whether it's ducks or geese.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I got a buddy who lives here. He just started getting into competition calling, duck calling. I have no shame in saying that I am a mediocre caller at best, but it is what it is.
At least you're giving it a try. I'm over here just waiting for my buddies to do the calling.
I mean, I'm not like terrible. We've had this conversation before. I mean, I can't call a judge, but I can call a duck.
And that's all that matters. I mean, honestly, it's something that I get asked all the time. Hey, how do I do this note? How do we do that note? When do I need to use this when it comes to hunting? And it's like, well, frankly, you don't.
Yeah.
It's more so knowing when to call than how to call. If you can give them something remotely close at the right time, it's better than giving them something real good all the time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And there's always been the argument of, well, contest callers can't kill birds. Well, I frankly disagree pretty strongly on that one, but there's yeah, exactly. It's definitely two different mindsets. So, definitely don't have to be a contest caller to be a successful hunter. And some of the best hunters I know definitely aren't contest callers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's incredibly impressive what you guys do up on stage. I don't know how you I don't know, you got some wicked lungs or something, I guess. Do you do like breathing exercises and shit? I mean,
most of it really isn't that you have that much breath built up, although it doesn't hurt. I can tell there's a big difference between when I was 210 pounds of just rock solid muscle and now, but being in shape definitely helps a whole lot. But really, it's being familiar with the call and understanding how to use your air efficiently, whether that's getting your call tuned right or knowing how to have your mouth positioned to make the most of what breath you have.
Gotcha. So I guess we'll ask the question then, because I'm sure someone's going to want to know what's your go-to duck call?
Man, I think the one that. I've got two. I can narrow it down to two. I kind of collect, and it's a bit of an issue, and my wife might not know how much of an issue it is, but no, it's so I've got a 40th anniversary daisy cutter that is just absolutely awesome. So the Rich and Tone daisy cutters, classic J-frame, just mash on them kind of duck call, and it comes down, and it's got a real nice low end to it too. This one especially, every call you're going to get that's turned off of a mill, that's heck, every call you get period is going to be a little bit different. So just because they're made through a CNC lathe or CNC mill doesn't mean that they're going to be identical. So the one that I've got's a really good one. I got really lucky with it. And then the other one I've got is a Tim Grounds D overhauler, another J-frame single reed duck call, and it's got a little bit higher pitch and a little bit looser bottom end to where you can really get some awesome nasty low end stuff.
Oh yeah, grounds calls are really nice.
Yeah,
I have a couple G overhaulers.
Nice.
I have a nice little collection too. I'm not a great caller, but I do. I don't know why, but I have a nice little collection. And,
Hey,
I
acrylic and
love
wood
grounds
sure look pretty,
calls.
don't they?
They do,
I could
man.
sit there and stare at them as well as I could blow them.
Heck yeah, man. Well, let's hop into the meat of this, man. I'm excited. So you're born and raised in Colorado, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Um, Now, I know with like dive bomb and all the adventures that you have going on, I'm sure you kind of bounce around the country hunting. Um, how much during the actual season do you spend in Colorado?
Anymore, it's not as much. I probably get 3 weeks worth of hunting in
Yeah.
Colorado, but when you're out there, I don't know. I think I probably total, excluding turkey season, probably about 100, 115 days a year. So, 3 weeks at home is pretty good anymore.
Yeah, I heard that. So, what are your big hit states that you guys do?
Everywhere we do. Man, we're going as far. Let's see. We don't have anything in Alaska this year. We're going. I guess we got the West Coast there. Oregon, Washington, California. We'll be hitting. We're going to be going all the way out to the East Coast, doing some hunting in Maryland, possibly New Jersey. I know that Asher and Cody are headed out to Scotland, and we're going to cover. I think we've got like 20 states that we're hitting this year.
Wow.
So we're covering some country all over the Midwest. I know we're going to make a nice run through Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. It's going to be all over the place. So we're around.
So are you doing the hunt, or are you just doing the photos?
Well, it kind of depends. The job varies. So when we hunt with outfitters, we typically are taking pictures and taking video, trying to, make stuff for YouTube or for our marketing stuff. And also we share that with the outfitters that we go with. So, that's kind of one of the perks of having us come is they get, some professional, quality photography and marketing material out of this stuff. So, there's a lot of stuff that we do freelance. I think, a lot of people don't really, see as much of that. They don't understand that, it's not just going and showing up to outfitters and tagging along on layup type hunts. We do a lot of driving around and, just burning up dirt roads and knocking on doors and get permission. I think we've got 3 stretches of 5 to 7 days. So we got at least, 3 weeks in there where we're just going out there and beating down doors to go and try and get on some ducks and geese pretty much. So it's, it's a little bit of everything.
Damn. So when you get to Minnesota, give me a call. I'd like to tag along with you if possible.
Yeah. Well, hey, what are you doing this weekend? You going to be around for Game Fair?
Oh, I was thinking about going to that, but I'm not sure what I'm doing this weekend yet. Maybe I am.
Well, if you come to Game Fair, we're out there. We got a booth, so you gotta come by and say hi and introduce yourself. I'd like to have you meet the whole team.
For sure.
I'd love
to come out. Yeah, I'd love to come out there. Then I'm probably gonna do it.
Perfect.
Yeah, it sounds like you do have plans. So that's awesome. So you got like the dream job, man. I mean, pretty much. You wouldn't you say so?
I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. It doesn't get a whole lot better. I get to fly the airplane back and forth, and I come from a family of pilots, so aviation's a big part of my life. But getting to travel around and hunt ducks and geese is pretty darn special. I mean, it's definitely not without its work, or it gets pretty difficult, especially having an 8-month-old son and a beautiful wife that I have to leave at home for those 115 days a year.
Yeah, what does your wife think about that, huh?
She's amazing. She's super supportive.
That's good.
But we definitely cherish every minute we're together. And, I don't think either one of us would be mad if I was home just a little bit more often.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your son.
I appreciate it, man. That's the best thing that's ever happened in my life. My son is, it's one of those things that when people talk about having kids and, you hear all the cliche stuff like, oh, you're going to love him so much just the second he's born. And, you just don't get it. They're exactly right. I never knew that I could just be so instantly attached. And, it's amazing. We were there at first weekend of Game Fair, and little kid's walking along the asphalt, and he absolutely just biffed it, went down, scraped his knee, instant tears, screaming his head off. And of all things, that triggered me missing my son. I mean, it's like, wow, if I would rather be home and have him screaming in my ear, my goodness, what's that tell you about being a dad?
Some people would rather trade that and be away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm just blessed. I've got a great family, and being at home is definitely as special as it gets. So I'm very, very lucky.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So it's going to be hard to not talk to you about all the awesome stuff you do. We're gonna have to get you on here for another episode. Once all this is over with, talk about
let's talk about the real good stuff, Colorado.
Because I'm telling you, we can get down some rabbit holes. But we're gonna focus on Colorado. So once this is over with, we still got 40 something weeks left of this. Then I'll reach back out to you.
Perfect.
We're gonna do some just Forrest stuff. But so. How long have you been duck hunting, I guess, would be the first question I have.
I started duck hunting in 2000, so I guess that's going on 21 years now.
Yeah. And who got you into it?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yep. So it all started, got hunter safety like every kid. And he had a couple really, looking back, they're really hideous mounts of blue-winged teal. I mean, really nice birds. Had a blue-wing, had a beautiful, perfect plumage common merganser that was just awesome. But growing up, looking at that stuff is what got me kind of excited. So he took me out, and I'll never forget. He took me to a public spot here in Colorado that they recently closed down, and it was a real foggy, still morning, big lake, and we were on kind of an edge that had some trees for, I don't know if you two have been out here, but Colorado is kind of a desert for the most part. We don't have trees just all over the place a lot of places do. So, sitting there near the trees, and I'll never forget, it's just after sunrise, everything's glowing pink. And for the first time, I heard the wind on a mallard's wings, and that absolutely turned me inside out. I still get goosebumps thinking about that very first duck, and that bug hasn't gone away since I caught it.
For sure. How old were you on your first hunt?
10.
10?
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I love those stories. We get those every week, and it's crazy, and that's one of my favorite things about this, man, is, all across the entire country, we all come from completely different upbringings and ways of life, and we all have different 9-to-5s and what we do, but at the root of it all, we all still have this crazy drive for waterfowl hunting, and everyone does it a different way. So it's it's so beautiful in its own unique way. So it's awesome to hear stories like that, especially everyone's first hunt. I feel like everyone's first hunt is just this significant moment in their life. It's like a milestone, becoming a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's your walk of life. So that's awesome, man. With Colorado, I've never been to Colorado. My fiance has, Madison. She's been there a couple times. But so what are the environments that you kind of hunt in Colorado? What's it look like?
Well, like I say, it's a desert, so it's very dry. There's a reasonable amount of water, but not a whole lot. And we've got a few main rivers. All of those rivers would be creeks for what most people are used to out in the Midwest, or definitely compare it to a real river like the Missouri or the Mississippi. I mean, it's not even in the same league. So the one that probably gets hunted most is the South Platte coming out of Denver that runs into Nebraska. And that's where the majority of our birds winter. They don't really stay on the river as much. The big honkers do, but the ducks, what snows we get, and the lessers tend to stay on the reservoirs in the vicinity. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of dry field hunting, a lot of corn. winter wheat. There's some, fall wheat that's coming off right now. We got some nice golden fields for our early season stuff. A lot of silage cut corn. So a lot of real clean fields. They don't pick as many fields around here, which makes it tough. And when you're hunting out here, especially in the fields, it's typically a pit game. So I don't mean like a pit that kind of sticks up a little bit and you cover it the best you can with some bushes and all that. I mean, if it's not, completely flush with the ground, creating no shadows, keeping the lids closed, you're, SOL, and it's going to be a rough day for you on a frequent basis. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of guys, especially early in the year, that hunt on ponds, especially as you get close to the mountains here. We do get a lot of ducks that breed and rear their young there up in the mountains. So we've got North, Middle, and South Park, which are three basically flat areas up in the mountains, general elevations, 7,500 to 9,000 feet. So there's a lot of birds that are born up there, and then when it gets real cold, then they'll hop down out of the mountains and work their way onto the Front Range here. And the Front Range being basically from Fort Collins to Denver, and in the vicinity of I-25, so within about 20 miles of the mountains themselves.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty neat.
See,
go ahead, Vink.
Oh, now I was just saying, when he talks about Colorado, I imagine like mountains and snow, but you say it's a desert. I'm like, it's kind of hard to just see Colorado being a desert.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, you have the mountains to look at, and on the Front Range here, nobody knows how to go anywhere or tell direction when they leave, because the mountains are no longer to the west. So people have no sense of direction here. But you're always looking. Even on the in the winter, we typically get real nice, beautiful, clear weather. Colorado gets about 300 days of sunshine a year. So even 60, 70 miles to the east of the mountains, you can see them clear as a bell, nice white snow-capped hills in the winter. And, you definitely get the mountains, but very rarely are you hunting in them. And when you are, it's typically early in the year.
Okay.
So, do you guys hunt mainly? It sounds like you mainly are private land hunting, or do you hunt public? What's your kind of split there?
Anymore, most of what I do personally is on public land. I just kind of, I've been in a lot of leases over the years and done a lot of private land hunting, but, with all the hunting I get to do and how little I'm home anymore, it just doesn't make sense for me to go and spend the kind of money that it takes to be on a lease, especially with a little one now. I even dropped out of a club that I've been a part of, and was actually grandfathered in this year. So my dad's been around, and he'd been in that club since 1988.
Wow.
Finally dropped out. They were doing some different things with dues and all that. And, it just kind of fit the timing. I figured I'd be better off spending my time and money elsewhere. And I get to do enough hunting that, if I end up taking an L on a few hunts as opposed to going out and really being on a banger, I'm just fine, because I make up for it on other hunts in the year,
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure. What so with all that, I mean, how is the public land in Colorado? I mean, I don't know how much you guys have or how accessible it is, or
there's a lot. You need to look at it. Basically anything within an hour and a half of Denver is probably going to be very pressured. And the public land that we have, it's not in, big, huge tracts. You might get a mile of river here, or, 40 acres there. So when you get 6 to 8 trucks that pull up to hunt one of these places, it gets crowded in a hurry. So the weekends can be pretty difficult. But if you do your homework and you are willing to drive and travel away from Denver a few hours, then, you're more than likely going to find some places that people aren't usually hunting. And specifically the western slope of Colorado gets very overlooked. It's right there. That's the eastern edge of the Pacific Flyway. So you've got a 7 duck limit and different season lengths and all that sort of stuff. So there's some really neat stuff there, like Barrow's Golden Eyes, and there's just some really cool stuff on the western side of the state and in southern Colorado that gets overlooked too. So making sure not to just focus where everybody else goes. That's one thing. Everybody tries to follow someone who's been successful, while they don't realize that those people who have been successful are not successful simply because they went where they were. It's because they put in the work to find a place where people weren't. So That's one thing I try to tell people, especially people who are new to the state.
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better. Scouting.
Yeah, bingo. I mean, that's all there is to it. And
Yeah.
if you're just looking to go out and have a good time and watch sunset, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I have plenty of those hunts every year where, frankly, I just want to get out, take my dog, go enjoy the afternoon. I've got 4 hours at the end of the day, nothing really pressing to do. So load up, take a few dozen decoys and go swing the bat. But, there's a difference between doing that and hunting. I feel like that's the act of going hunting. The action is going versus the action being hunting. When you go out, if you're serious about it, go put in your work, go find where the birds are, think about where the wind's coming from, where the bird's feeding. There's a whole ton of different things, especially with how privatized Colorado is on the land with these small public tracts. You really are banking on being underbirds and running traffic. And most of the fields for the goose hunting out here have been leased solid since the 80s, early 80s. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not talking about stuff where you just go knock on a door, maybe get permission one day, maybe some guy beats you another. All these fields are leased out for $3,000 to $10,000 a year, and guys have their pits, and whether they hunt it 3 times or 30 times, it's their place, and you're never going to set foot on it. So most of the scouting that we're doing here isn't necessarily trying to get on an X, because you're not getting on any new ground. You're trying to be under a flight line or close enough to it that you can run traffic.
Oh yeah, that's kind of the same situation that we have down here in Louisiana. Like any private land, whether it's good or bad, is, like you said, usually under lease, or the people just won't let you on it. There are places, and some states are fortunate that they don't have that problem. Indiana is where I'm from, and that's one state where you could go scout fields all day and find a cornfield and knock on a door, and the farmer would be like, "Hell yeah, man! I mean, you come out here first thing and get rid of all of them." But Louisiana, unfortunately, is not that. So we got a lot of grinding on public land here, and very rarely do we get the chance to slide onto private land. And leases are just so expensive, man. It's unreal. I don't know how people can justify. I mean, like here, they're leasing like rice fields for $15,000 a season. I mean, it's absurd.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And that's like, and people are fighting to get into that. People would pay probably 20 or more for those. And, I don't know. That's a topic for another time, but it's crazy how big money has kind of taken over so much. Anywho, what you said, so you mentioned limits a little bit. What are the limits in Colorado?
I haven't checked this season, but everything on the east side of the Continental Divide, being Central Flyway, we've got 5 dark geese. I think we're at 50 snow geese for whatever that's worth. And then we got our 6 ducks, 5 mallards, 2 hens, fairly standard in most of the other subdivisions, and taking certain species. But then the western slope, you get 7 ducks. All 7 can be mallards, 2 hens, I think it is. And then you've got 4 Canadas over there, 4 dark geese.
Okay. Huh. So pretty typical of every state, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to get that 6th duck. I know, aren't you folks in the Mississippi typically a 5 duck, 4 mallard deal?
We're 6 ducks, 4 mallards down
Are you?
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But some states are 5, some states are 8. It's pretty crazy how spread out it is across the country. Especially
Alaska was like 9, right?
Alaska's 8.
8.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
He said 8, but it was like 8 of anything, pretty much.
Pretty much. And then you've got sea ducks that are separate. So
Yeah.
if you got something crazy where catch them right at the point where it's kind of fun because you can actually shoot scoters on fresh water up there. If you catch them before they move out to the salt. So I bet you could really have a heyday up there if you timed it just right.
Yeah, that is crazy. That was a fun conversation. I've been daydreaming about Alaska ever since then, man.
You should.
It's a one thing I find weird is how state limits vary so much with waterfowl being such a federally regulated sport, and most laws fall from the federal level. Yet each state still dictates limits and seasons and everything. I find that kind of strange. But
yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? You get well, heck, just look at Oklahoma and Texas. I mean, Oklahoma, you get 8 lessers plus 2 speckle bellies, and then you go across the Red River, and you get 5 dart geese. Only 2 can be specks, and you kind of do a little bit of math there and figure out where they're stopping first. And I've seen a pretty dramatic change in how Texas is hunted since Oklahoma's changed those rules too. So it's kind of interesting seeing how all that plays into it, and just kind of interesting probing guys too to see what their opinions are. I mean, again, topics for another day, but what do you need to go out, and hunt and be happy? Do you need to go kill 15 birds? Do you need to kill 3 birds? What do you need to kill any birds? What's it really about? So that's one of those things you could get me wound up, and I could talk for days on that one.
Oh yeah. Well, and you can hop right across the border to Louisiana and you can shoot one Canada, if you ever saw one here. But
yeah, it's just wild.
Yeah, our limit's 1 on Canada's. I've shot 1, so I have hit a limit of Canada's 1.
Hey, that's pretty good.
It's like I've seen 3 here total. I'm pretty sure it was somebody's pet, but I don't know, man. Wrong place, wrong time.
That's funny. He just wanted some of that good Cajun cooking.
Well, he got some. Or we got some, I guess. But that's awesome.
Speaking of cooking, what's your go-to duck recipe?
My favorite, I love doing a stir fry. So I like slicing it up real thin, and I cook the meat first, but I'll get it in there and cook it. Throw like some sesame seeds and some barbecue sauce, a little bit of everything. I like a nice tangy barbecue sauce kind of deal, maybe with a little bit of kick to it. And I'll get it cooked where it's just coming up on rare, pushing medium rare. I'll crank the heat to 10 and start to caramelize that stuff on the meat. And then I'll go ahead and make my I've got my noodles and vegetables and everything going in the other pot, and
nice.
Then I'll throw it together there. That's probably my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah, it does sound really good. It's I guess you missed it. Vang wasn't on the show with us last week. He was too busy. But we had a good long talk about food last week. It was really I'm hungry, man. It's almost supper time here.
Hey, I mean, let's be honest. Food is most people's favorite subject. I mean, who doesn't love food?
Right.
I mean, that's my favorite part about duck hunting is duck eating.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've got a lot of cool recipes already from this series that I plan on whipping up. I'm gonna have to do a cooking series on the YouTube channel now. Right. 50 states of waterfowl cooking. I don't know. We'll have to come up with a good name for that one, but I don't think I have enough time for another project right now. Honestly, it's I'm running out of hours in the day.
Right.
But we'll get there anyway, man. So what I want to know, man, is how many states total have you hunted? I'm assuming it's a ridiculous number, but
man, I think I'm somewhere. I think about 32, 33. I did the math before summer, and I vaguely recall it being somewhere around there. But it's getting to be a bunch.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So with all the states you've hunted, where else would you like to go hunt?
Oh man, so much of what I've seen, I'd like to go back and see again. So it's kind of tough to even set my eyes on something.
Right.
I'd like to go to the Northeast. Black ducks are a vixen for me and a siren that calls. That's I've killed 2 black ducks. One of them I killed in Colorado, of all places. It was I was in high school. It was homecoming night. In the Rockies, it was 2007. The Rockies were in the playoffs, so I hadn't slept for 2 days. My homecoming date had just broken up with me. I shoot this black duck after working it forever, The mallards that it was with had lit and had been on the water for probably a minute and a half when I finally shot this black duck. And he fell in grass that I could never find. So I never recovered the first one that I killed, which broke my heart. At 17, every bird you kill is probably banded, especially if it's a black duck. So, there's a black duck out there sitting in some grass that's, rotted away since. But then I killed an absolutely stunning black duck up in western Saskatchewan. One of those, again, obviously a fluke, way, way away from where he ought to be kind of thing. And this dude was perfect. I mean, it was one of those middle of the morning, the flock shows up, just surprises you. And, I heard the wings, looked up, realized there was a black duck 20 yards up, smoked him with the old 28. And, that was that. So got him. He was perfect. Had him in a freezer along with a couple hybrids and a couple specs that I was going to put some hardware on that I'd collected in the past. And my buddy's freezer went out that had all that stuff in there. So I'm 0 for 2 on my black ducks here. So
sounds like you got some rough luck, man.
Dude, it is. I am actually one of the luckiest guys in the world. I swear, but when it comes to black ducks, man, they're getting me. They're getting me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I'd like to go to Maine, New York, New Hampshire, somewhere way up northeast and do it. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to do it. I love, waterfowling heritage. So like Chesapeake Bay stuff would be super cool, but I just want to get away from people. In fact, I mean, I wouldn't even mind going up to like Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island and doing stuff up there. Like, I don't have the ability to grow any facial hair at 31 years old, but if I did, I'd like to have salt ice coming off of it. You know what I mean? Like just that kind of thing that gets me fired up.
I like
awesome. What so out of all of those states, what's your favorite thus far?
Texas. Yep. Yeah. You could make an argument for a few others, but I guided in Texas for a good while, about 5 years. Yeah. And I love speckle bellies. I can hunt specks every single day. And, big bull pintails are never a bad thing either. So Texas is definitely pretty high on that list.
What's at the bottom of the list?
Man, that's you know what? I'm going to refrain from that one because sure enough, I'm going to offend someone from this state.
That's right. I was baiting a little bit.
Yeah.
So in all those states, where do you put Colorado at?
Probably number 2. And a lot of it, I really do. And a lot of it has to do, probably with the fact that I grew up here. Everyone's got a special connection to their home waters, whether talking about fishing or playing baseball, you could move away 20 years, you come back and I'll just take a drive and, take a trip down memory lane and just fall in love with it again. But honestly, the birds we get here, when it's good, it is as good as it is anywhere. I've had plenty of days where, I had hunted in ice storms here, had awesome combo, lesser spec, snow, mallard hunts. I mean, where we've, done doubles. I've gotten, let's see, we killed, it was right at the end of the season, and we stopped just shy of 500 birds with just piles of snow geese coming back and honkers and ducks. The ducks in the field here can be, as good as Canada, only they've got color. And then honestly, the South Platte it's just magic. There's a lot of small creeks like it, and even quite a bit smaller than the South Platte that you can hunt and have some awesome experiences on. But man, that the Platte is they say it's a mile wide and an inch deep. Well, most places it's in reality 30, 40 yards wide, and you might have another 20 yards of sandbar before you come up next to the river bank, if you will. But on the banks, there's big cottonwoods, there's sloughs that run along them, and some of my favorite hunts are either ducks in those sloughs, and you're walking, God knows how far on some of this public stuff to get to some of these random little sloughs to be under a flight line. And it's very similar to, hunting a big hole in the flooded timber, a big hole, but, call echoes the same. I blow an Olt in the cottonwoods. You know, I mean, you can hunt it like timber. And then when you hunt on the river, man, my favorite thing out there is hunting the geese, and you get lots of geese that use that, and they'll come right over the cottonwoods, and they work like ducks. They drop their feet, stick their wings out. They basically bring their body vertical and make a big S with their necks and just sit right down on a sandbar. And I mean, it's intimate. I mean, when you're shooting those big, 9-10 pound honkers at 15 yards on a sandbar, it's pretty sweet.
I imagine. What's the most predominantly killed bird, you'd say?
In Colorado, I'd say the Canada goose. I don't know if it'd be if you just lumped in lessers and greaters together, it'd be a Canada goose, but probably closely followed by a mallard.
Really?
Yeah, we got a lot of mallards here. Early on, it's kind of the Central Flyway mix where you get the standard widgeon, gadwall, some ugly pintails, ugly mallards, green wings, blue wings. But when December gets here, it's greenhead city, and there have been plenty of times where we've drug out a hunt looking for, and we only have one bonus duck to fill. So there's lots of times where I've drug out a hunt looking for one bonus duck, either for myself or for a buddy. It's something.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We're the exact opposite here. We're just dragging out the hunt, waiting for anything to come by.
Yeah, I hear Louisiana's definitely not seeing as many mallards as you used to down there.
Yeah, I can't. I've only lived in Louisiana for a little over 3 years now, so I try and stay away from the used tos because I was never part of that. But in my experiment, gosh, I'm twisting all over myself. In my experience, there hasn't been any mallards here. I can count on two hands how many I've killed in 3 years in the state of Louisiana. So,
man.
But with that being said, there's tons and tons of gadwall, and they eat just as good, if not better, than a mallard does.
And when they decoy, I mean, gadwalls on an intimate level. Then, I mean, they're either the easiest or the hardest duck to kill, depending on the given day. And when they do it, it is wonderful.
And people think I'm crazy when I say gadwall are some of my favorite birds to work. But like you said, man, I mean, certain ones it will just suck right in without you even seeing them. But for the most part, they are hard ducks to get to commit.
They really are.
And when we can pull in a big group, they call them gray ducks down here. But when you can pull in a big group of gadwall, I feel so accomplished because they're a hard duck to work. I mean, that's when you're like, what? I did everything right this morning. I may have only shot 2 of them out of the 30, but hey, at least we know what we're doing. We just can't shoot. So, but we do. Last year we were blessed. We got some colder weather towards the end, and we got a good push of widgeon. But predominantly we get gadwall and teal, which, like I said, both are great eating birds.
Absolutely.
So,
can't beat that with a stick.
Yeah.
As long as you haven't given in to just eating poodoo.
No, I don't. I don't even. You know what that is, Bang?
No, I don't actually. Explain.
I'll teach you when you come down, buddy.
Okay. Yep. It's delicious as long as you don't know what it is.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, I can't complain. We also get a very healthy dose of wood ducks. You can, if you ever just need to kill ducks, there's plenty of places where you can go shoot your 3 wood ducks and go to IHOP afterwards.
That's perfect.
So it's not a bad place to be.
No, but and I mean, guys, I don't know. I love wood ducks, and I feel like that's one that guys don't give enough credit. And I understand, especially when you're in the timber and, in Arkansas and you're trying to look for mallards there at first light. I get it, but man, there is something about going out there and just chasing those squealers. It is so much fun. And with how many you get, a lot of people here are just hate wood ducks, but I don't think I ever will. I mean, first light,
or even before shooting, like when you just hear them squawking and
Yep.
whistling through, that's just how you know that, like, hey, this is going to be a good morning regardless. And I don't care what anyone says. It could be the coldest day of the year, and we're expecting some heavy migration or like, some big migration flights. If a group of wood ducks flies by, they're getting shot. I mean, I don't really give a shit.
Well, you talk about a good eating duck, man. Find one that eats better than a wood duck.
Oh, and they're so fun to shoot too, and they're always 90% of the time they're passing shots.
Yeah,
They'll either buzz by the blind or like two random ones just suicide and land in the decoys. You don't even know where they came from.
Yes, exactly. Then all you see is that big red eye and that head sticking up, going, "What have I done?"
Oh yeah, I love wood ducks, but a couple questions for you, man, that we kind of ask everybody. Just for general purposes, what kind of shotgun you shoot?
Personally, I shoot the Beretta A400 Explorer and either a 20 or a 28 gauge. I haven't shot a 12 gauge, and I didn't shoot it once last season, and I barely used it the year before. So I'm really a 20 gauge, 28 gauge kind of guy.
You hear that? That 20 gauge.
I feel like I think you guys are like I'm slowly getting turned on to 20 gauges.
See?
Well, part of it is that I'm going deaf. I mean, not literally, but it's definitely not getting any better. And the 20 gauge has made a big difference there. I have the same effective range as a 12 gauge. I mean, hunting these lessers, we get a bunch of hybrids in the first push, so we get some really cool stuff, some Canada snow crosses, some Canada specs, some really neat stuff. And I am not scared to, if I have to pull up on a bird that's 65, 70 yards, I feel confident that I can kill that bird with a 20 gauge. And it's been good for me. Been real good for me.
What kind of shells do you shoot out of it?
I like the Apex stuff, man. I like I've shot a lot of their steel. I have shot their TSS, which is stupid. Don't even get me started on how amazing TSS is, especially that Apex setup. But their steel, just their steel shot, man, is awesome. It's super consistent, and I've been very, very, very happy with it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. Actually, that's what Freddie shoots, was the Apex TSS. But man, I'd be single if I tried to buy some of that. So.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it's worth it.
There's a time and a place. When you take that trip to Alaska to go get your Harlequin or your Old Squaw or Emperor Goose or King Eider, that's when you pay for TSS. Maybe not so much when you're going to go teal hunting.
Yeah, I got you, man. What everyone's like, I don't know. You guys are gonna make me buy a 20 gauge. I was talking to Maddie about it. Actually, the last couple weeks, I'm like, I'm trying to find a 20 gauge, and predominantly not because of you, Vang. So don't get your head on.
No, it's not because of me, but everyone we've talked to has shot a 20 or uses a 20 more.
Whatever. That's irrelevant. The point of my story was, like, this is the only thing I can find any shells for is for a 20 gauge.
Yeah.
Like, finding 12 gauge shells right now is like hitting the lottery around here. But there's just so many 20 gauge shells. I almost bought a case of, they were Kent Fast Steels.
That's another good round. The 3-inch 2s out of the Kent Fast Steel 2.0s. Before I started shooting Apex, that was what I shot, and I was pretty happy. So if you see a case of those, go ahead and pick them up for me, would you?
Yeah. Well, they were in 20 gauge, so I was like, I'm about to just buy this and then just go buy a 20 gauge. I might have to resort to that. You
ought to. Yeah, actually, you said you've got a girlfriend?
Fiance.
Fiance. All right. Well, congratulations. Does she come hunting with you very often?
No.
Occasionally?
No, never.
And that's kind of why I bought my 20.
You see where I'm going with this, right?
I do.
Because both my 20 and my 28 gauge were for my wife, and we've got 2 28 gauges now. So there's it's all in how you spin it.
It also gives you a reason to go buy one.
Yes.
Well, that's what I did last time when I got a new gun. I was like, hey, I need a new one so I can give you my old one. which obviously never got used. And then I was like, oh, I'll just get a 20 gauge, and if you ever want to go, you can use that, and I'll use my gun. She's like, yeah, blah blah, whatever.
I'm not sure how girly she is, but this Beretta A400 Explorer, the receiver is rose gold. Big fan.
Those are some. I've shot the A400s before. I've never shot the 20 gauge, but I've shot the 12 gauge, and those are some nice shotguns. Everyone else we've talked to has been a Benelli guy, really. But it is what it is. Teach their own.
Hey, nobody's perfect, right?
Looking at a 20 gauge,
that's like the Ford and Chevy debate.
Bingo. So somebody's wrong. They just won't admit it.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat, I guess. But maybe I will, Bang. I don't know. When you come down, I'll shoot yours.
Okay.
Just bring some shells for it. But man, Forrest, one more question for you.
Yeah.
And since you hunt plenty of mornings, then you should already know this by heart. But what's your go-to snack for your blind bag? What do you have to have with you?
Sweet tart ropes.
Sweet tart ropes.
Yep. They're so with all the calling, don't get me wrong, I love Cheez-Its. I love like Pop Tarts used to be my thing. Like Pop Tarts in the blind bag, that was, and they still find their way in there. But the problem is Pop Tart finds its way into the guts of my goose call, and I got to pull it apart. So sweet tart ropes you can have. They are also my 12-year-old lab's favorite snack. I pull that out and she perks right up, and that is her favorite thing. So the sweet tart ropes, partially my dog, but they're solid. Big fan.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I never would have expected that. At least you're a Pop Tart guy in the past, anyway. So
I mean, you can't go wrong. Let's be real.
It's finally. I've asked this question every week, and I haven't got a Pop Tart guy yet. So.
What are the common answers?
What honey buns just piss me off. We got a couple of those. I hate honey buns, so that one actually aggravates me.
Man, I like honey buns, but when they're frozen, they suck.
Yeah. The cream pies, the oatmeal cream pies.
All right. If you want to eat, do you carry a spoon with you too? I mean, why don't you pull one of those out of the bottom of your blind bag? Tell me that panned out well. I'm telling you, sweet tart ropes, they don't fall apart. You can get halfway through it, and spit the rest out. You're in good shape, man. This is efficiency here. Efficient. You'll get your sugar rush and maybe diabetes, but who's counting? Wow.
That's awesome.
Oatmeal cream pie. Seriously, they're delicious. Again, I love them, but that's an in the truck snack.
Yeah, that's very impractical.
Yeah. They're a liability, really, when it comes to those midday mallards. So let's be honest.
I do love good oatmeal cream pie, though. And my weakness is, this is way off topic, but at work they have a vending machine. They have like the little double stacked ones, dude, and those things they just stare at you all day, and then finally I usually break it out and get one.
Yeah, they're a Big Mac of oatmeal cream pies.
Literally.
What are you going to do? Turn it down? I mean, no.
Well, if you ever get one, look at the back, and there's literally like 800 calories in that damn thing. Like as soon as you get done eating it, I always look at the back, and I just feel like so guilty about my life. But it is what it is. But we've, Forrest, I appreciate you for coming on, man. And like I said, with Colorado, it's kind of hard to just talk about Colorado with you, since you have such a diverse life, and you get to experience all these things. But I think you were still a great representation of it. And honestly, I didn't think Colorado would be as good as you made it sound.
Yeah.
Well, no offense, but
no, I get it, and that's fine with me. You don't have to tell everybody that Colorado's awesome. That's cool. I'll keep it to myself. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on, and it's Colorado's a beautiful state. We politically it's gotten tougher the past few years, and it's a tougher climate to hunt in than it used to be. But it doesn't change the quality and the beauty of it. It's something that really never gets old. And like I say, if you haven't hunted ducks on the South Platte River or geese, I mean, there's still more to see. This is one of those things that you absolutely have to do. If you're really a passionate waterfowler, to say you've done it.
Well, I will. Hopefully, one day I'll make my way up to Colorado, and and shoot some birds with you. I had to promise Maddie that I would stop telling everyone I did an episode with that I was going to come hunt with him, because she's like, "You're going to Alaska and California and Arizona." And it's just like, hey, I don't. I get caught up in these like daydreams while we're doing these, and I'm like, yeah, I'm coming, dude. Like, I'll text you in a couple weeks, let you know when my flight gets there.
Exactly. Well, you've got my phone number, buddy. Anytime you head up this way, I do travel a lot with it, but if even if I'm not here, man, just heck, I've got decoys that are, and you just I'll drop you some pins and go out there and have a good time.
Maybe one of these days, man. Colorado's on my list of places to visit, so maybe.
I think we're visiting every state, Thad.
Hey, you ought to.
We're gonna come across a couple that we're not gonna visit.
Little waterfowl super slam.
But yeah, man, if you're ever down around Louisiana, holler at me. It's not. I can't promise anything awesome, but I can promise a good time. You can bring your sweet tart roast.
That's perfect.
I'll bring you. I'll pack an extra Pop-Tart.
There we go. But if there's not much to call at, then it won't be an issue.
But man, I appreciate it again, and Vang, thank you for coming back and joining us again this week. Everyone missed you, like I said. And everyone listening, thank you again. Like I said at the beginning, if you're on one of our many streaming services, hit that follow button, guys. And do me a favor, just share it with your friends or your family, put it on your Facebook, whatever. The podcast hasn't really gained a lot of traction yet. It slowly is every week, gaining more and more. But taking the 10 seconds out of your day to just share it, does wonders for us, and that's what the growth is all about. That's where it comes from, is from you guys who support us each week. And for those of you guys that do, I greatly appreciate you. If you happen to be watching the podcast video on YouTube right now, do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button. We're a couple hundred subscribers away, like 200 away from our big giveaway, where we're giving away that A-frame that I promised a couple months ago. So if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and stick around, and here in a couple weeks you'll get the chance to win an A-frame, guys. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Forrest, Vang, thank you guys again. I'll reach out to both of you, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it, guys. Take care.